Hey, we're back here on Gadgetplex with Phil May of Techno RV. The subject is the Locket. And we talked about the hardware. We've talked about kind of the process that's involved. But now let's take a closer look.
Okay, so if we go to the first graphic there, what I'm going to be showing you is what the software will do in guiding you the information through. There's a little picture of somebody just kind of keeping it in their pocket or on your keychain. On the next screen, there'll be what's called the home base. And that's the main screen that you get presented with. And as you can see, it kind of prompts you of all the sorts of things that you could enter into here. And what I say to people is just start at the beginning. So start with the medical information, then you can go on to information about you, about your insurance details, contents of the home, that type of thing. So it's very easy, which is a big deal for a lot of our customers. Yeah. They don't want something that's too complicated.
Yeah, this looks like a very good rainy day, kind of activity, and I mean that in a positive way, because you can kind of make. You could kind of almost make a game of it, of who can locate the various scraps of paper and the spiral ring notebooks where all this stuff is kind of stored all throughout the unit, and just who can bring the most to the table.
Yeah, well, that's the scary thing, Andy. When you go ahead and do this, is you don't realize just how scattered your information is. When we did this, and in fact, well, actually when Tracy did it, so we had some information that was, like you say, on bits of paper. Some was on one laptop, some was on an older laptop that we'd kind of archived. We had quite a bit of information that was online on different types of websites, and then some that's in the safe in California that we haven't even been able to go back to yet. So it's, you think it's amazing just how much information we have and how scattered around it is. So putting it, the process, as you say, of putting it in one place is definitely a good thing to do.
Okay. So now, do you recommend that people have the Locket on this physical device and then back that up in some sort of cloud-based service as well? I mean, I could see in a tornado or that kind of a situation, you wouldn't have the internet, and that's why you want to have it on the physical device. But do you still recommend it being backed up in two places?
Yeah, definitely. So what I say to people is, if you're spending some time entering the information in, once you've finished, just go ahead and run a little backup. It has a backup script. And what that does is that copies the encrypted files and the passworded files onto your laptop. And then it relies on you having a good process, which hopefully people will have now after watching our show, in terms of backing up their laptop, as you say, onto maybe the cloud, like with Carbonite, or using the click-free backup drive. But those encrypted files will then be backed up. So if you were to inadvertently lose the Locket, it's not going to be no use to anybody else. But you can still get a new one and actually recover a new one after that. Type all that information in again, because that would be a terrible thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's take a look at a couple more of these forms, because there were a number of things before we recorded here, step through, things like I really hadn't thought about that you want to keep.
Yeah, you don't really. It's amazing how you don't think about things until you go full time. So, just on there, we've got our medical information. Each time you go to a doctor or to a dentist or to an optician, as we say, you can record the information about each trip. That might be, maybe what was diagnosed, the prescription, refill numbers, who saw you. You could even take scans of treatments or X-rays and things and attach them in there. So that's all on the medical side. If you go to the next one, I think there's some other information, which again you probably wouldn't think about, but again when you're full time, you need to carry your passport. In my case, my green card, your certificate of title for the vehicles, and if they were damaged or destroyed, it's really hard to replace them without at least some of that information. Because they always ask you the information you don't have, like, do you know the number of the of the document that you don't have anymore? It's like, what a crazy question is that? But at least this way you can say, well, yeah, I can fax you a copy of the old one if you like.
Yeah. Well, and especially, I had a situation where I lost a driver's license, lost as in physically misplaced it. And I was amazed, and I think it varies from state to state, but the process to replace a driver's license is really a major deal. And so having just that scan could really help make your trip go a lot more smoothly.
Well, you know, I can well believe that, Andy. I'm just going through the process of citizenship right now, and that's why I flew back to California last week, and I did 5,000 miles for a half-an-hour interview, and I'm not even going to bore you with the lead up to that in terms of the amount of paperwork and so on.
Yeah. So what other topics or what other things are on the list? I think I saw recipes in there, and I guess that would be a good thing to record.
Yeah, there's some fun things. I joke when we used to show this to people on the booth, but we had a recipe came from England from my grandma, and we'd lost it a couple of times, and it's really embarrassing to go back to somebody and keep on asking them for it. So we made sure we put that in there. The slide there is a really useful one, particularly as we say in a disaster situation, because that the insurance company is going to ask you, do you have a list of what was in the RV or your home? Because this applies equally well to a home. And can you prove it? So what I recommend to people is get a digital camera and go around and take a picture of all of the valuables in your home or RV. And many people do this already, by the way. But then the neat thing with Locket is you can take those on the drive and associate the information about each item. So it's serial number, where you bought it from, how much you bought it for, and then in a very easy manner, print that out and fax it or email it to the insurance company. So then there's no argument about what you had or what the value was.
Yeah, I can certainly see how that would be useful. One of the things that people talk about is the notion of identity theft. How does Locket help you to guard against that?
Well, just by keeping all that information in one place and keeping it passworded and protected can really help keep that information private, because you just never know when somebody might be able to try and steal that information from you. So having that that security and peace of mind is a really important thing.
Mm-hmm. And then what about other uses for the information? You mentioned you could back the unit up to your laptop or to another drive or to a cloud-based service. Are there other uses that you recommend to people?
Yeah, one of the things that's very popular is if you think about it, just the process of going through and gathering all the information and putting it in one place. It's like kind of a snapshot of your life, if you will, and being able to put that together as an adjunct to your will is something that's very popular with our customers. So what they'll do is get a second Locket, back it up to it, and then give that to accompany their will, with it maybe administered by a family member or by their attorney or something.
Yeah, and that would certainly help in that situation to kind of ease all of the paperwork that goes with that as well. So the product
it's not something you want to think about, but it's not a nice thing to have to do. So if you can make it easy for somebody, what the heck?
Exactly, and of course you never know about a situation where things can move along much more quickly than you had planned, as they say. Hey, planning's what it's all about, and security has been the topic. The product is called Locket. It is available through Techno RV, and we're also going to have something else available from Techno RV, the unboxing. That's coming up on the next segment of Gadgetplex.
Got a question or comment for Gadgetplex's Phil May? Send him an email at gadgetplex@rvnn.tv or leave a voicemail for Phil at 877-578-RVNN, extension 703. Follow RV Newsnet on Facebook and Twitter, and you can receive text messages to alert you when we're streaming live by texting RVNN to 72727. That way, you can join us live in the chat room, ask questions, and become part of the RV Newsnet family. Remember, any photos or other material submitted to us become the property of RV Newsnet and cannot be returned. Today's show is brought to you by Angie's List, where you'll find thousands of unbiased reports and reviews about service companies in your area. Whether you're looking for a roofer, plumber, house cleaner, dentist, or even a doctor, Angie's List members share their experiences with each other so that you can choose the service company that's right for your job. Companies can't pay to be on Angie's List, and the reviews come from people just like you who have had experience with the companies mentioned. To find out more, go to rvnn.tv and click on the Angie's List ad.